just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
So we want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. And most of all, we thank you for Roush and Yates partnering to give us the power that we see before us tonight. Thank you for GM Performance Technology and the R07 engines. Thank you for Sunoco Racing Fuel and Goodyear tires that bring performance and power to the track. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. My two children, Eli and Emma, or as we like to call them, the little E's. Lord, I pray you bless the drivers and use them tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track. In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of RR After Dark. It's the official podcast of the iRacing League Racing Revolution. I will be your host, Nick Alves, driver number 24, Coastal Financial Ford Mustang. Joining me today will be Trevor Keith, the driver of the number 15 KSX Racing Graphics Ford Mustang. Also here with me today is Trevor Earhart, driver number 41, Black Rifle Coffee and Earhart Enterprises Chevy Camaro. Lastly, Justice Murphy, driver number 12, All About Bugs, Chevy Camaro. Now, before we get started, we do have to shout out our main sponsor who's been with us for the entire Racing Revolution existence so far, and that would be Chapman Environmental Services. Chapman is your source for environmental solutions. Chapman provides integrated environmental management and consulting services. For more information, you can visit them online at chapmanes.com. That is chapmanes.com. Well, fellas, welcome into a brand new season of RR After Dark. We have a lot to cover as we had a little bit of a hiatus previously. Also, anyone here for YouTube, welcome. And you can see my dog Nala here. She'll be interrupting from time to time. So say hello if you're on YouTube. If you're just listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can probably hear a caller. So anyway, boys, Episode 1, thoughts so far on the new season coming up? Anybody want to get things started here with any thoughts? All right,
Not
cool.
everybody.
Justice Murphy, go.
Act like we've done this
Yeah.
before, boys.
Excited to get the season kick started. Hopefully, doing these a little more frequently. We kind of got off kilter a little bit last season. Everybody had some different arrangements going on, so hopefully can get kind of locked back in and bring people a few more of these. Get our talking heads on here every now and again.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get us ourselves on a little bit on track here. So episode 1, we're gonna do a little bit of preseason predictions. We got a little list here we can run through. Obviously got new teams, we got new drivers, a couple of rookies. We can speak about our own individual expectations for our own individual seasons. We also just had our clash last night, so we'll do a little bit of recap of that, and then next week we do our Daytona duels to establish the starting lineup for the quote unquote our 500, but it's really our 250. So let's kick off with we'll do a little bit of preseason predictions here. TK and Trevor, I don't know if I didn't speak to you guys before the episode. If you guys did a little bit of this, I know Justice and I ran through it really quick together. But TK, do you have any predictions for yourself this season?
For myself, Final Four. It's Final Four or bust for me. I got really close last year, and that's it for me. That's my goal. Anything less than that is kind of underachieving to me. No offense to anybody else, but just in my eyes.
You should see what I wrote down. My individual expectations is make playoffs. So that's all I wrote.
Uh,
Oh, jeez, dude.
yeah, poor Nick. He had a rough season there. Yeah, I'd say mine is just I'm kind of in that same boat as TK. I feel like I'm been right on the edge a couple times and just couldn't quite get all the way there. So always competitive when I get to Phoenix. I mean, I was running with Rob again last season at the end. So I would love to be able to get there and it be competitive for a good reason.
Love to hear what Trevor's thoughts are because he had a little bit of a, we'll say, harsh
Rough
season.
year.
Rough, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You know, yeah. I mean, Nick, I think you had a rougher season than I did, but I think my personal goal is to get back into victory lane. The first season that I'd been winless, and then obviously, everybody's goal is to make the final four and run for that championship at Phoenix. But for me, my main goal is just to be consistent. Throughout the whole season, there were stretches where I was pretty consistent top 5 driver, and then there were other stretches where I was wrecking people for 15th and 20th place. So the goal is just to be consistently up there in the top 5, and then see how our cards play out when we get to the playoffs.
Nice. All right, well, so I got a little list here. I sent to you guys about who we thought the best team, best driver, most improved driver, and just what really renewed rivalry were we looking for. Now, I'm gonna start off with the layup out of all of them. I would say is the best team, and I just went with EXR to be honest. There's no. I know Kevin's team won it last season just based on how we were doing the quote unquote playoffs for the teams, but overall, I'm gonna go back with EXR and you know pretty easy choice for me.
Man, EXR, like, it's the obvious choice, I think, for a lot of people because
Mhm.
of Rob and Burns, but I think consistency wise, I think Justice's team, Lightning Fast, I think those guys have a pretty good chance this year.
Mhm.
With everybody on that team, now if you can get Jacob to consistently show up and him not run into trouble, but the core group of that team, the other three, I think are going to be right up there with the EXR because it's going to come down to what Caleb does for that team. And last year he was kind of in the same boat I was just terribly inconsistent. So I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna put Lightning Fast as my best team of the season.
TK
Yeah, I took.
or Josh?
Oh,
No,
I
you good,
was
you good.
saying, I took Racing for Freedom. I do appreciate Trevor's pick. I think you can't overlook just how good Travis is at the end of the day. And he's consistently kind of battling up there. Just got to keep himself in check. Kyle's pretty good. And then as long as you get Be Rich and Devin kind of consistently be there, they took quite well to his coaching most of the time last year. On speed, they just have to get a little better in the race, but I really think that they kind of make that leap as a team to be one of the top upper echelon teams. I am on the same boat as Trevor. It's not necessarily a consistency problem, I think, for Caleb. Caleb had some internet issues last season, kind of relegated himself to the back quite a bit, dealing with that. But you don't have the fourth driver to fall back on in points each week. So one gets in a wreck, gets involved in something, gets off on pitch strategy. They do like to play different pitch strategies on that team to guarantee that you kind of get one of them to finish up front or maybe two. So you can't really have that when you don't have that fourth person to fall back on points wise. So they may struggle a little bit. I still think they're going to be a big part of the picture, obviously. I know Nick, you guys, you're kind of in that same boat with just three of you, and unfortunately for you guys, it's a lot worse effect than it is on EXR. I think that you yourself would admit that, but yeah, I think for me, best team, I look at Racing for Freedom and just kind of expect them to make that next step, kind of as long as Travis is that leader they need him to be.
All right, TK, you got a team in mind?
Yeah. Well, obvious answer is EXR, right? But my point was with Justice without that fourth driver, it's going to be kind of tough. You can see with Kevin's team, it kind of hurt him at the end there, not having that fourth driver. One guy finishes bad, then it's you put yourself at a disadvantage. And for the sake of not saying something as somebody else, I would go TriStar.
Ooh.
Obviously, Grant Thorpe, he was in the Final Four last year. He can get it done. He's the best fuel strategy guy in the league. Jackson showed a lot of speed last year at times. If he can just keep himself under wraps, keep out of trouble. I've been there, done that a few times. And Bresnock he showed speed at places, but he just got to show up consistently. I think he missed a few races last year. And then Michael Reed, we've seen what he can do in the trucks. He's up front almost every week in the truck. So I'd imagine he'll be up there contending for something
You
in
know,
the Cup cars too.
I love this transition, TK, because it brings right into my next
Yeah.
next topic. And the last person you just stated was one of the two that I thought was going to be one of the best drivers of the season, and I put Michael Reed down. I did Michael Reed and Caleb Gilbert, but like you were saying, like truck series, right? Michael Reed's consistently
always
in
up front.
up front. He like the kid can drive, and I mean, I don't know if you were paying attention to the clash or not last night, if he was around you at all, but he was making these crazy moves in the middle, like trying to force things.
We
And
were 3 wide at the finish, dooring each other. So
yeah, I mean the kid is absolutely talented, and he's a rookie this year, so I have really high hopes for him, and hopefully I don't know, we'll see what he can do. But yeah, Caleb Gilbert and Michael Reed are my two guys to be on some of the top dogs this upcoming season.
I want to hear yours, TK. I'm gonna go last on this one.
Ooh.
So Harrison is one of mine. Tyler Harrison. The dude's
His
fast.
teammate.
He's got to get over the hump. And you saw a lot of that with me last year when I came over to Justice and Jacob and started getting over the hump, and then had that really good run in the summer, and then was just this close from the Final Four. And I think Tyler's going to start to get over that hump now. He's going to work with us. We're going to teach him a few things, and just like I did last year, I think he's going to start to get over that hump. The other one, I mean, how do you not go against the 4-time? Right? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a point.
you can't.
Yeah.
I was gonna make that same argument for Rob, but yeah, I mean, how do you bet
Hey,
against
this
him?
speaks for itself
Hey,
right there. You can't really.
everyone loves you until you start turning into the villain, you know?
Until you Jimmy Johnson. Yeah.
Well, and the funny part is, and I'm gonna sidetrack us for a second. You look back at Rob's season last year, wasn't all that spectacular.
No, he was not the
and
best driver last season.
Almost-
He won
almost
some
missed.
races that he probably shouldn't have. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
Almost
Jeremy was
missed it.
faster than him in
Indy.
Phoenix
Yeah.
and got into some trouble.
Mhm.
So who's your pick, Bald?
You know, his teammate Burns.
Burns.
I mean, the dude is pretty much a lock to win any of the road courses, and there's a ton of them on the schedule. TK, you're not
Oh,
close.
I actually had a cough. I
It
haven't
was a
caught up to
really
him
good
yet.
timely
I'm
cough.
trying. I know. I'm trying, but I haven't done it yet.
I mean, I'm hoping with the formation of a couple of new teams that some drivers can get back into form and then help a couple of other guys out who have been showing speed at road courses, can make that kind of push to bring that gap down. But he was really consistent last year, and I think Burns, and then if Travis can keep his internet in check, I think he's going to have something to say about who wins the championship this year. But again, it's going to come down to that one thing we all love about doing what we do is your internet going to work week in and week out. So, but I would say that those two are probably going to be the two drivers that I would watch out for all season.
Okay.
Well, everybody's gonna listen to this. I promise we didn't plan on going home team here. TK joined 3 minutes before the pod started, so
Yeah.
I had my notes typed up, but I picked TK as best driver. As he kind of alluded to, took a big step last season. Comes over. There were things that as we're going through the season, I thought were more common sense. Maybe things that he had learned along the way. And then they would come up and he'd go, I've just never heard that. And so now he can take and implement those things, gets into the deeper part of the knowledge, the strategies. I mean, there were some races TK kept himself from winning just by simply not listening to his headset. When Indianapolis makes his own pit call. When I told him to pit, and he made his own pit call and ends up not winning the race when he was leading. So just those kind of things, I think, takes the next step. If I had to pick a second driver, it would be in the same vein as Bald. It's going to be Jeremy. In my opinion, I know Rob ended up winning the championship and everything like that, but Burns was driver of the year last year. And I don't think it was particularly close. Now, obviously, some of the road course wins, as many as he got, help kind of pad that stat. But I also think he's just somebody that puts himself where he needs to be, right? Rob jokes all the time. He's not great on the mile and a halfs, but you don't have to be great. If you're running in the top 5, you have a chance to win. He snuck a couple of those in, did what he had to do. I mean, at Richmond, he was about the 7th fastest car in the spring Richmond race and won the race. After Travis wrecks himself, Rob wrecks himself, I get wrecked by Bennett. And then just the way the event unfolds. So yeah, I would say it's TK and Jeremy are kind of the two I look at to make those steps.
There's a common denominator in some of the guys that we alluded to here, and also have proven from last year how much they improved, and it's the same. Obviously, just being in a new place. TK, the leap that you made last year, unbelievable. Jeremy's leap that he made the last 2 seasons on being on a new team is crazy. Now, if you can, like, same thing with Alex, like, just having someone in your ear, having someone else's like voice, or just having that like calm demeanor of someone in your ear, knowing that you have guys behind you willing to battle for you on a team. It's amazing what a new place can do to a driver, and just show that off, that raw speed that we all know everyone has the potential to be great. So, but that's good. So, next we got most improved driver. So I know there's been a bunch of people that didn't really have the season that they wanted to last year. So I do apologize. I do have someone on my list that is currently in front of me. And by association, 2 of them know it's not them. So so I got Trevor Bald, and I picked Bennett to be 2 of my most improved drivers. I think Trevor's going to at least win 2 races. I think Bennett's going to make the playoffs and get past the round of 16 for next season. But yeah, I think Trevor, with your new team that you guys got going on over there, I think you guys are gonna have a lot of fun, but I think you guys are gonna take everything a lot more serious than what you did last season. And I just think that the teamwork from all what we've been seeing so far, and the different teams that are been forming and the alliances that we see forming, I think are gonna help out both guys that I picked.
I appreciate that, Nick.
I'm going to take most improved first, so that nobody takes him from me. This actually falls right in line with where my best team pick went. I think most improved is going to be Devin Hudgens. I would not be surprised to see him bump his average finish up somewhere in the, low teens, maybe 13, 14 kind of average finish. And if we're being honest, I mean, a 13, 14 average finish, something like that throughout a regular season, puts you pretty deep in the points, probably 6th, 7th, something like that. If you run well enough, maybe pick up a win. Again, I think that as long as Travis continues to show the leadership in the right way, and kind of get them all pushing in the right direction, I think that's really one I like as far as most improved goes.
Good one.
All right, which Trevor's going? TK, you want to
I'll
go?
go.
The one
I'll
with
go.
hair,
Give
the
it
prettier
to me.
one.
Okay,
So
calm
Nick
down.
alluded to it earlier about people changing teams, and so my most improved, he didn't make the playoffs last year. Nick, this might sting a little bit. I'm sorry, but it's Matt Robinson. He made the jump over. He's now with
TK.
Baldy over there,
Took
and
my pick.
he's over there with Baldy, and we have that kind of alliance. So we're all working together, and I think Matt, another guy that just needs to get over the hump, just like me 2 years ago, Harrison this year. He just needs to get right over that hump, then he could win 2 or 3 races a year.
All right, so
and-
Rick Matthew Robinson.
Yeah. And I'm gonna elaborate a little on this. I hate to interrupt that, but I want to give Matt his props too, and I want to give Bennett his props on something, because it took Bennett leaving my team to go find a place to win. Because I was probably a pretty bad teammate early on in my R career. But Matt legitimately loves it. He texts me every day, "Hey, what can I do better here?" Texted me today, "What in these Gen 4s could I have done differently to have won the race?" Right? What can I have done? And I mean, dude, I was running in the back. I got damaged. So, yeah, I think Matt takes it very seriously. Wants to improve badly.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He's putting the work in. So, and he's gonna see the results.
That
All
was
right,
going to be my
Paul.
pick. And TK took it. First off, I want to appreciate Nick's drink of choice for tonight. By the way, I don't know if anybody else saw it, but I saw it.
I did.
Got a glass of chocolate milk, man.
Chocolate milk, baby.
Freaking great. I was losing it over here. I'm gonna go since TK took mine. I got two. I'm gonna go Kevin. I think Kevin's got a lot of raw speed.
Kevin
Just
led points for a while last year. I'm pretty sure.
right. He's got the speed. He just puts himself in bad spots, and I think with that team that he's got with Chris Carter and Call, I think that they can be and Joe, but I think that those guys can help him, and they can help each other. I think Kevin's going to have actually get a legitimate win this year, if not more than one.
Poor Kevin.
Yeah, poor Kevin.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with Kevin, and then and it's not because he did it to me, but I think Nick has a good bounce back season. I think that team gets their stuff together, and it's not going to just be Alex carrying the flag for 4 3 minutes now, or whatever they
We're
want to
still
call themselves. 'cause
performance.
there's-
We're still performance, no matter what Matthew says.
I do. I do want to say this. I think the alliances, the strength of the alliance teams, which I think we're going to cover right after our next topic, some of the new
crazy.
teams and the alliances stuff. The alliances are going to make this probably our deepest cup field. You're probably going to have 23 or 24 legitimate playoff contenders, which means you're going to have some guys that are used to making it that won't make it. And you're going to have some guys that probably run well enough to make it, and you're just not going to. I mean, it's going to be that way.
Actually, yeah, to piggyback off of you really quick. Speaking of Matty, he was talking to me all yesterday and before the race, and he was talking about like the teams and stuff once we finalized it in Discord, and he's like, "Wow, I think he said like there was 30 something people on teams." I said, "Yeah." I was like, winning is going to mean so much this year. You're going to have to decide as a teammate, hey, I won. Like if you win already, do I do everything I can to help one of my other teammates win, or do I go out and get another win? Do you care more about bonus points, or do you care more about having your teammates get in the playoffs? Because as we all know, having friends is very beneficial. So keep them happy if you can.
Yep.
But
To make an interesting team points battle too. With last year, teams kind of fizzled out towards the
Yeah.
end of the year. I don't think that's going to happen as much this
Yeah,
year.
I mean,
we
if
have
you-
one or two, but it's going to make it very interesting.
if you look at it right here, I have it printed out. We have officially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have official 9 teams right now,
That
and
are almost all full.
I mean they're stacked with
Yeah.
drivers. I mean, there's only one team that we have no idea about, and that's just because it's filled with all rookies from and that would be Kyle Stewart, Justin Ritchie, Dakota Floyd, and Morgan Cook for Orange Speed SRT. They're the only question marks. I mean, every other team, you know that there's at least 2 to 3 wins in each of those teams, if not more. So you're gonna have to, hate to say it, try your ass off, but you're gonna have to. Like you're gonna have to be a little petty at times with some of these guys, because
Well,
you're not gonna, you can't. I mean, you're gonna have to make enemies at some point in the season if you want to help out your teammates and care about yourself. So.
And
Well, you
yes, Mama Burns, that Morgan Cook.
well, and you got 2 wild cards right off the bat to start the season. I mean, so
Oh, with
It's
Daytona
really
and
going to
Atlanta.
test. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
going to test the teams and the alliances.
Well, you
with-
really have 3 wild cards to start the season because you're running a whole different coda.
Coda. Well,
It's a
is
different
it?
layout.
You're running a different layout, so it's going to be different through sections
Yeah.
of the track.
They haven't. Does that come to iRacing yet? Or
It's
they're
already
about
in
to?
It's
there.
already
Oh,
in,
it's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, West,
With the new
West
layout,
or
Jacob
something.
might
West
not blow
layout.
by me either.
Yeah. Yeah, it completely takes out the long
Backstretch.
backstretch, right?
Yeah.
You take both hairpins 11 and 12 back there, so you remove 2 passing zones. It's gonna be interesting.
The whole
But
first like
yeah,
6
first block,
races. I mean, you go Coda, Vegas, or I'm sorry, Coda, Phoenix, Vegas, Homestead.
Yeah.
And then Darlington and Talladega, or no, Darlington, Bristol, Holy cow! The first
it's
month,
first
couple months of
first
the
couple
schedule.
months.
There's gonna be elbows out.
First
I
couple
mean,
months are gonna be elbow up to
Yeah.
to get yourself in. And
Uh,
you're gonna bring back some rivalries, right, Nick?
We are, yes, yes, yes. So I have probably a fan favorite to talk about first. It's one that's pretty spicy in Discord, pretty spicy in real life, pretty spicy everywhere, really. We always talk about it. So, TK, are you ready to get back to fighting with Michael Bennett on track? Because that's my
If he
rivalry of the
shows up,
season.
I need him to
Ben-
show up. That's why I've been tagging
Hey!
him.
He said, hey, he quote unquote told me he's coming back. Well, he's going to stay throughout the whole season, but he said the only reason why he wasn't at the Clash, he just think you weren't worth his time, man. That's all it was.
Hey, I was worth this time in Martinsville. Ask him that. Last saga of that, so I wrecked Bennett. So I'm sure I got a payback coming sooner or later.
Oh,
but,
dude, he was bitching for days about that one.
Yeah. Oh, I still hear about it. Don't worry.
All right,
I've wrecked him
Bald.
too, so don't feel bad.
Paul, let's hear your
Rivalry?
one or two, whoever you think.
If you got one, yeah.
How about
you
how
got
about
one,
you?
yeah.
How about you versus Call, Justice?
It's fair.
I mean, y'all
That's
go
fair.
back and forth in Discord like a married couple, and
Well, Call
sometimes
and anybody goes back and forth like that.
that's true.
Yeah,
But I
Me
mean,
and Call, I've went.
Justice and Call do it on the daily basis, and then on track, I know y'all have had a couple of spats, so that's going to be my one to watch out for if y'all are around each other. How that's going to play out. And then I would say me versus the field, but hopefully that's not an issue this year, and we don't have to renew that rivalry.
You versus the Selfsman.
Yeah, me versus the damn race car. We'll see what happens.
So I've got two as well, and one of them I completely mean to be satirical, but one of them I think is legitimate, and there's a reason. It's going to be Rob and Bald. I think that Rob got used to Bald not really being around the front last season. That's a big thing you talk about in real life. That's a problem. Is like as guys start to run around the front of the field, it takes a while for the guys to warm up to them. Hey, they're here. They're definitely fast enough. Reintroducing somebody that hasn't really been up there consistently can kind of have the same effect. So we know those guys have had it on track a time or two, and what they say in the admin Discord is a little interesting. But yeah, I think that those guys, and then my satirical one, Travis and his internet. Hopefully is not a thing, but the way last season went, especially the last probably 15 races, it was really a struggle for him. So I hope that one gets healed up, but that would be my two.
Knock on
Me
wood,
and
Travis
Rob.
didn't have any issues last night, so
Yeah.
hopefully
Right.
that's a good telltale sign of
With 35 car field, that was
yeah,
a good
a
thing.
decent sized
At
field too.
Daytona.
Mm.
There, yeah.
TK,
Alright, TK.
you got one?
Yeah. Justice's right rear and Chris Nail. I don't know how many times I heard, "Get off my right rear, Chris." That's a good one.
The
I don't want to bring up myself again, but at the end of the season there, I mean, if you charted up how many laps me and Grant Thorpe ran side by side with each other, it was unreal. I mean, everywhere you looked, we were side by each other. Another one would probably be like Matt in performance. I mean, you guys are probably going to race him a little different this year. He might race you guys a little different this year. There may be something there.
So
So-
we'll say we've jokingly said we'll give him a hard time. He's jokingly told us that he'll give us a hard time. I think within the parameters of being respectful, you're not going to see the same respect that you would if you're on our team.
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to tell you who out of us three would probably give him the most amount of fits, but I'll tell you there is a tier, and all
It's
three of
gonna
us
be
are on a
like
different tier. Just so you
the
know.
19 is on the top
So you
tier. I already know for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
You
That
don't
was
have
an
to
easy one
say
to
it.
Like,
figure out.
Listen,
and it doesn't have to be like enemies, but
Hateful.
like just Matt probably wants to
Yeah.
beat you guys, right? Because he made the switch. You
Right.
guys want
Yeah,
to
he
show him that,
wants to,
like, why did you do
and
that when we're, it's
Yep.
one of those.
yeah,
It
everybody,
could be friendly rivalry
yeah,
as well.
absolutely understand whoever changes teams. If you're on a new team, you always want to prove you left for the
Why
right
you moved.
reasons and you left
Yep.
because of something, right? So, and you want to prove that you made the right decision. So, I mean, hats off to everyone that is on a brand new team. I hope everyone has great success and great luck. But Matthew Robinson, see you on track, buddy.
Hey, your
Uh,
father's still out there as a free agent, Nick. Y'all can be a team of
He,
4.
I understand. Just what we're doing this season requires us to just to have three to make sure our Discord communication is not too much, I would say. But
Fair enough.
yes, we are. I will say this, maybe throughout the season we might just say, hey, someone hop in if we think we can handle one more. But yes, there is also FYI, people that are out there, you know who you are. Um, I show respect to everybody out there. Hope I get the same respect this season, because Nick's sixth place Alves is coming for all your asses. And speaking of Nick's sixth place, we're gonna do a quick
Coming
segment
for all those
here in
place
every
finishes.
in every episode of Nick's sixth place of the day. So congratulations to Jeremy Burns who finished sixth place in the Clash. Yeah, you're Nick's sixth place first time of the year. So
I love it, dude. Are we doing that for the duels too?
If Buckets wins
yeah,
everything,
there'll
this
be
is
two for the
stupid.
duels.
uh, that's tough.
Oh god, dude.
Well, we've
Burns
talked
wins
quite
even
a
when he doesn't win.
even when he doesn't win. We've talked quite a bit about shuffling
Mhm.
things around. So I think maybe we go through and talk about a couple of the teams here. Believe there's, I don't say, I guess maybe not 5 new teams, but basically 5 new teams, like renamed, guys moving around.
Yeah.
So I'll start and I'll
Mhm.
cover kind of my situation. Then I think we let Bald go, and then Nick, I assume you have the others maybe listed
Yeah,
move
I have
wise.
everybody else. Yeah, so.
Okay, yeah. So, basically, we changed from BD Motorsports to Lightning Fast Motorsports, um, and we kind of formed an alliance with Bald Trevor, who renamed his, and he'll kind of run through that. But we kind of formed a whole group there. Up, we took Daniel. Daniel Holloway moved over to Bald's team. We picked up Tyler Harrison. So it'd be me, TK, Tyler Harrison, Jacob on that team this year. And Bald, if you want to kind of talk your situation through.
Yeah, so last season we were it was me, Parker, uh, James, and then for a little bit there it was Dustin. And then Dustin had some stuff come up and couldn't race with us. Loveland said that he was going to be part time for this coming season with some personal stuff that he had going on racing in real life wise. So Parker and I decided to disband what was Tire Slayer Racing and form Rolling Thunder Racing in conjunction with Justice and those guys. We picked up Matt from Nick's team, Matt Robinson, and then we also brought over Daniel Holloway to be a part of that. So excited to bring those two on, and the partnership aspect of it all. Gives us a chance to collect more data and practice with some other guys, and I think that can really help the growth of Parker, Daniel, and then me and Matt as well. But I think it's really going to be beneficial for us as a whole, having 4 other drivers that are highly competitive to kind of learn from and lean on, and same for them as well.
I think personally, I think the biggest thing in racing is communication. And I think the more guys you can have in your ear talking to you, obviously more guys on track in your ears is very great for anybody. So my situation is, yes, we are still Performance Motorsports. We do still have 3 of our founding members with myself, Alex Forget, and Michael Bennett. Now, the reason why Performance got formed with in the beginning was because I was on a team with Rob and Kevin, who were also fellow admins, and we made a rule. After, I think it was after our first season, to not have an admin on the same team, so that way we can spread the wealth for admins for communication and rules and whatnot. So Rob formed Element X, I formed Performance, and there's always been talked about joining back up and becoming on the same team. Now, being on the same team was never going to happen, but when it came to fruition that it was made possible for an alliance, just like Trevor and Justice has made, we thought it was a great time to also do that. So with Element X just having Rob, Caleb, and Jeremy, then R3, we're going to do that as well. Now, there are a bunch of other guys here that have formed new teams. I know Racing for Freedom, it's Travis Gilbert, Kyle Diaz, Brandon Richardson, and Devin Hudgens. They're not so much a new team, but I would say they're more of a complete team now with all their drivers kind of on the same page and working together. So they're going to be scary. We have one More Time Racing, which is Kevin Orlando, Chris Nail, Carter Linz, and Joe Joya, excuse me. We also have Michael Call in there, who is not running for points. He's just in there for communication purposes. We have Best of Enemies, which we don't know what we're going to get from them. They're a bunch of guys that they're really fast as super speedways with Christopher Schaefer, Grant Turner, Dylan Picklesheimer, Al Likens, and then they have two guys who aren't going for points because they're just part-time guys. It's Christopher Berger, Cameron King. And then we have our team full of rookies. Thanks, shout out to V Speed for bringing all these guys over. This is Orange Speed SRT of Kyle Stewart, Justin Ritchie, Dakota Floyd, and Morgan Cook. I don't really know anything about these guys, especially since we just raced a super speedway in not even the cars that we're running at all. So they're a big question mark for me and not knowing what's going to happen. And then the last team here that is officially formed is TriStar Motorsports, and they're newer with who they brought on. So it's Grant Thorpe, Jackson McGeorge, Christian Bresnock, and Michael Reed. I think all these teams are fantastic. I think you're going to get a little bit of different style from all these teams, the way they communicate, the way they run, and how they're probably going to help one another. I think the structure of all the teams, I know there's three quote unquote super teams because I believe it's One More Time Racing and Orange Speed, the team of full on rookies that they're also teaming up to have some sort of an alliance together. So team points like TK was talking about, I think is going to be interesting. It's going to be really close, and I think individual points are going to be close. Let's just say that close is the easiest word to put it. It's going to be hectic. After the first 5-6 races, you're gonna see some guys that are like, oh shit, like we have to step it up now, like early in the season, and that switch is gonna have to hit pretty soon. So talking about new teams, kind of talked about new drivers here. We already did our individual expectations here. We can talk about the Clash a little bit. And a driver who has been around for 2 seasons already. This is his third season. He doesn't really get the flowers he deserves. And that's Grant Turner. He does get a little bit of a bad rap. Quote, good job, Devin Hudgens, for giving him his nickname of Twinkle Toes for showing his feet on camera. But Grant Turner is the back-to-back RR Cup Series Clash winner. He did again last night, and he proved again last lap is the only lap that counts because back-to-back Clash wins. He's only led the last lap. So shout out to Grant Turner. He's one guy that I think is going to improve also, and I think the sky's the limit for him with how much confidence he's going into the season right now with.
Yeah, I mean, last year at the Coliseum, I mean, we all know the chaos that unfolded at the end of that race. But hey, he made it through it, got the win. That's all that matters. You get the trophy at the end of the day. And then last night, I mean, we all know that he's got speed at the super speedways. He won Talladega last year. And then, he's always up front for the super speedways. So it wasn't at all surprising to see that. And he got a heck of a push from I believe the top line is where he won it from, if I'm not mistaken.
I was in the
middle.
top and was the second row, so he was
Yeah,
in the
well,
middle.
yeah, because I was behind you or
Yeah.
behind Parker and then behind you. But yeah,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised to see him up there. Again, congratulations on the win for Grant, and I'm with you, Nick. I think he's going to be kind of one of those sneaky fast guys. I don't think you'll see him up front every week, but I know he's got speed at the road courses. Some of them, definitely the super speedways. We'll see how that plays out with this car package if it's as bad as it felt the other day. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Turner up there for maybe the 500 win to start the season.
I mean, he's won 3 RR races, and when he wins, it's always exciting. You saw the Clash last year. He went for what?
8th or
He was like
10th?
8th or 9th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to winning in the last
It was
lap,
like a
right?
half a lap
And then,
behind, I think.
Last night's race, it was 0.003 with Caleb.
Let's
I'm
see if
pretty
I
sure.
can. While you're
And
talking,
then
let's see
the
if I can get the
Talladega
photo
one,
of
I'm
that.
fairly certain he was 3 wide across the line.
Yeah, I think he was for that
Yeah.
Talladega race.
So, I mean,
It makes it exciting.
If Grant Turner's going to win, you know it's going to be an exciting finish. So,
But I think the Talladega race, I'm pretty sure he led more than just the last lap. But again, to the point, like he got to the front on the last lap essentially to
Yeah.
win that race. So he knows how to get it done.
Something to be said about being there when it matters.
That's all that matters, right?
Just
Got to
gotta
put yourself in a winning situation.
put yourself in position. Anything can really happen.
I'm gonna let Nick. I think Nick was trying to see if there was a picture.
Oh, sorry. I threw it up. Should have said that. I showed it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So if you're on
Yeah,
YouTube,
so-
you already saw it.
You've already seen it. Yeah. Something I think that we were all a bit surprised by last night, kind of operating in a different car than we normally race. Only having 2 for cause cautions with stage break, of course, with 3, but
Oh, stage break was a 4-cause caution. There was only 2 cautions.
So it was only 2 cautions. So that I thought was kind of wild. I'm gonna be honest, saved my fast repair. Probably kind of screwed myself. I was in the caution with Kevin there before the stage, the first for cause caution, and thought I'll just take the damage repair, and then with 5 to go, we'll get a caution, kind of like we normally do in a points race. It just didn't happen that way. Kept it clean. It was very, very clean Clash. One of our cleaner, which of course bigger track, but even still in a car that we don't normally drive, I thought it was super impressive.
Yeah, I think we ran that in the Gen 4 car, and I'm sure the Trevor and Nick will touch on it some too. I think just the way that car races at the super speedways, it's not as run dependent as the next gen car is. So you don't get those big runs and shoves that you get in the next gen car. You get just a tiny little shove in that thing. It's all about just building that momentum up and getting those runs, so you don't get as much of the contact, I guess. And so in the side draft, I think the side draft is what causes a lot of cautions for us at super speedways with how dependent that is. But I got to give a shout out to the field. I mean, we were 3 wide from pretty much lap 1 in that thing, and only having 2 4-cause cautions with 34 cars in the field was really impressive. So I think the guys bringing in a lot of rookies and us not having raced with one another in 3 months did a hell of a job.
To be fair, technically there was only 1 cause caution because the second caution was a half spin from the leader with Robin Burns that didn't wreck anybody, but they threw the caution anyway for it, if you remember correctly. So that the first caution that actually had a bunch of guys in it was really the only main issue, and that was only cause for a half spin too, and everyone just got caught up into it. So, but yeah, it was a great race for a lot of unpredictability from a new car, a new bunch of new drivers to show up there, have a great time, and I thought it went fantastic. I was ready to stay in admin chat for like 2 hours after the race, and took us 10 minutes, and we all said good night, see you later. And I was like, all right, well, it's not going to be like this next week, but it was great.
Took advantage while we had it. I thought we
Yeah.
had great admin. I said it last night. I thought we had great admin comms throughout the night. with some new procedures coming in. I think that's something towards the end of the episode, Nick. I want to bring up the panel situation we have going on, so people kind of can understand that 'cause that's going to be different. But yeah, I think that it was a really good sharpening night for I think everybody. Drivers kind of got back up to speed with each other, which I think can carry over even as we change back to the next gen. Get ready to go to the duels next week.
Absolutely. All right.
TK, thoughts,
Yeah.
comments, concerns?
Well, as the guy that caused the first caution,
Oh,
Uh,
that would be me.
I think it was Nick.
It was.
oh, was
I
it?
think it
I
I
was
thought
was
it
Nick.
was
I
me when
was
I hit Devin.
No. I was protecting. So I was sorry, Justice, but I was technically blocking Justice and Grant from.
He was trying to block my
Oh
run up
no,
top.
Devin didn't.
Yeah,
It
I
wasn't a
wasn't trying to go
caution. Me
three
and
wide,
Devin
and
lost the pack.
Kevin checked up because Michael Reed was trying to go three wide, and I tapped Kevin, and that's what sent
Yeah.
Kevin around.
Yeah,
Oh,
we were
my
going to end
bad.
up if Nick didn't try to protect the very top, we were probably going to end up 4 wide, going through the middle of 3 and 4. Me and Grant had a massive run coming through 3 and 4.
It looked like you guys were duct taped together the entire time
Oh,
behind
dude,
me.
we were flying. It was
That's
crazy.
right. I for some reason I was thinking it was when I hit Devin, but we just both lost the pack after that.
Yeah.
It was fun. I had a lot of fun with the Gen 4s. It was different, but similar in ways. The biggest thing with me was, like Trevor said earlier, building runs. Like I went to the top one time, thinking it would just like the next gen, you just go straight up and get right back to the pack, and it just took me a few laps to even, gain anything on the guy in front of me, and then it ended up screwing me over because I got passed by a couple guys on the bottom. So it was a nice change of pace. Cup cars are going to be different though, and it was just nice to get back racing with the guys.
Good chance to work with new teams and new
Yeah,
teammates.
just a good little
Refresher.
yeah. Try to get back going
That's
for
just
a long season.
hey, guys are simple creatures, man. Give us a car, give us just a Discord with the boys. We'll vibe out and we'll be fine for a few hours. Just let us go, you know?
Vibe out until we get right reared by somebody.
Yeah, until you guys start cussing somebody out.
Yeah.
Motherfucker of the week.
So that was the clash. Don't really have much to say about that because really
It was
no-
uneventful. It was
no, it was
uneventful.
uneventful.
really.
I mean, I'm sure the broadcast and people who are watching the broadcast loved it, seeing how close and packed up we were. But I mean,
Again, shout out to Turner.
yeah, Grant Turner, shout out to you guys.
Never did I feel like, I mean, you had guys out of shape, but it never felt like it was on the edge of unpredictable.
Yeah.
It just felt like it was, hey, we're kind of ho hum, we're out here running, and it just, you never, as much as I wanted there to be for the fast repair's sake, you never thought, man, the big one's about to happen right here. It just, TK said it a couple times, and I'm like, TK, it doesn't even, I mean, they're not even looking like that up there. I don't know
Yeah.
what you're talking about. You
No,
know,
I mean,
it just never felt like it was on that edge.
those last 5 laps, TK, me, Parker, and you were
We were 3 wide the
we
whole
were
time.
top line, and that car, the Gen 4 car, when you're in that pack on the top, you have to lift out of the throttle to keep it from pushing into the wall. But for the 3 wide, I mean, I made a little bit of door contact with the middle line, but like Justice said, it never felt like we were on the verge of just absolute calamity. It
No,
just
I mean,
felt like controlled chaos is what it was.
me and Michael Reed, who was the guy that pushed Turner to the win. I mean, we toured each other a few times on that last lap because I think he was trying to get out in front of me on the top, and I tried to close it off, and but never once did either one of us feel like we were gonna wreck. At least I didn't. I didn't look like he did either. So we just rubbing racing. That's what they call it.
It was
Now,
a great time to be back. Now to shift gears into something that we think we know something about the actual next gen
see.
cars.
Yeah.
So
Bald doesn't.
yeah, so
Hey,
I think the duels are obviously they're very unique. It's a non-points paying race. It obviously just sets the lineup for our 500. But I will say that there is an art that a couple of people in this league, I'll say probably a good 10 people have probably either mastered or are close to mastering that single perfect lap at a super speedway. And only two people are going to be able to lock themselves into a front row in the duels. Everybody else is going to have to race their way to see what they where they're going to start. So I want to talk a little bit about the art of super speedway qualifying. If anyone has, I know I have my own little unique routine that's seems to be working so far. I don't know if any of you guys have your own uh, unique qualifying concept or thing that you do for super speedways.
No, as
I'm
funny as
terrible.
this, as funny as this sounds, because people, I'm sure people watching want to think that we spend most of our time practicing 3 inches off of each other because it's how you race. The vast majority of your time practicing for this is going to be in that qualifying lap, mastering that because there is an art to it, like you said. This car is very sensitive with the tire temperatures and the track tip combination and how to get it right and what gear you got to roll in and what bumps you got to hit on the track. So, yeah, I mean, 90% of what you're trying to actually practice is the qualifying lap, um, especially going forward, right? Next week, we get to qualify and set our positions in a race unless we qualify on the front row. But, at Talladega, Atlanta, these other ones we're going to be going to, you're going to spend most of your time working on the qualifying. You just got to know how to time it.
I think at Atlanta, that's where it's going to be most important. Talladega, Daytona, you can kind of work your way from the back to the front. With the way Atlanta is, it's so hard to pass there, and I'm sure we'll touch on that whenever we get around to Atlanta week. Yeah, we'll touch on that, but I've tried the quote unquote qualifying cheese for super speedways, and I will still find myself in like 20th. So
Same.
I'm one of those guys that qualifying to me isn't that important. I want to work on pit road entry, pit road exit, and then just getting through the field. I feel like when it comes to the dual races and the race itself, I'm pretty confident in my abilities at the super speedways to get up front and win. But you know, the qualifying thing to me, especially at the supers, is to me at least isn't that important except for Atlanta.
Okay. TK, you got any thoughts or you
Yeah.
have your own ideas
Um,
for qualifying here?
well, I tried to. We're reassessing that situation because I tried to cheese last night and I qualified 31st. So
You
we're
scrubbing speed somewhere.
we're gonna try something different, I think.
Well,
But
like 28th and 30th, and we're like, yeah, we tried.
yeah, 30th. Yeah, we
I
tried.
missed the grid, so
Yeah, there's that. I mean, no, I mean, qualifying matters in a way. Maybe not as much as other tracks at super speedways, but for me, I base a lot of my strategy on where I qualify. All right, I qualify 30th. Kind of base my strategy of playing off in the back. You got to be careful. Do you want to move forward? Kind of thing. So I do think it matters. Um, Obviously, it's easier to get to the front at a super speedway sometimes. Just because you just got the draft. You don't have to base it off your raw speed. Uh, but who knows? It's gonna be fun.
The well, actually, this kind of entails. You guys actually touched on this a little bit. Does it really matter where you start at Daytona?
Oh,
You know,
oh,
but for me,
I want to go deeper into that, but
okay,
yes.
but for me, I think it does because one, you start up front, you can control the race. Start in the middle, you have a decision to make if you want to move up, if you want to go back, if you're comfortable where you're at, and if you're in the back, are you comfortable and confident in yourself going all the way to the front, or do you want to pull a Danny Hamlin and just wait it out? So to me, if I had the option, I'm either top five or I'm last five.
Yep. I wrote this note exactly this way. Would like to say no, but early indications are yes. Um, we as a team, as the aligned teams here, ran some practice, and you can gather some information off of like 8 cars running together. You can get in like a 4-and-4 pack, or you can get all in a single file line. Um, iRacing has done something to mess up draft packages in this sim right now. And you can lose guys. I mean, you can be running a pack of 5, and everybody's kind of running tight. Back 4 decide they're going to pull out a line. Leader, the guy that they've hung out, pulls up behind them to catch the draft. You can't catch the draft; they just drive off. They clear you by 3 or 4 seconds. So you're gonna have to be very cautious, careful of that. Ultimately, if the draft package works like it's supposed to, or you can kind of latch on as things happen, ultimately it matters less. If the last pit stop's a green flag pit stop, you can kind of control your own destiny. But if you've made your strategy around and then you end up, say, under caution with 13 to go, where the whole field can kind of pit and everybody makes it on fuel, then qualifying mattered a whole lot because you've made all your decisions all race long up to that point based off where you qualified. So, it can go either way. I think it's more important in certain predicaments.
I think you're not going to want to be the back 6 cars next month or in 2 weeks. I think if you're
Well, even the
provided we
clash,
have
smaller
provided we
field,
have
it's gonna be even worse.
40 cars, I don't think you want to be 34th through 40th. I think you might be in some trouble. But to me, having started up front in these, started in the middle, started in the back, I think it just comes down to personal preference. You'll have guys that qualify up front that in 3 laps will drop to the back because they feel like it's too racy. You'll have guys in the middle that'll try to work forward, guys in the back who will stay at the back. So I think it comes down to, and we'll touch on it some more here in a couple minutes, but where are your friends, and how much do you want to be around them at the start of the race? I think is the important part. It's about finding your friends more than it really is about where you necessarily start. Now, like Justice said, pit road, pit stops, that starting spot could be really important because it could determine how clean your pit entry and pit exit are. And if you have a green flag pit stop at the end, I mean, that could be the difference between you and your friends that you're working with winning the race, or you guys being wrecked in a heap of junk in turn 4.
Yeah, no, I think that's
Yeah.
great because, to be honest, you touched on it. Where your friends at? You want to be around someone that you're communicating with the entire time, because one, if they're ahead of you, they can let you know what's going on in front of you. Because we all know if you're bumper to bumper to people, you cannot see what's happening in front of the car in front of you. There's no way. That's why there's constant communication telling you guys like where the runs are going, who might be sideways, where the wreck might be happening, so you can kind of guess at what might be happening so you can have better cat-like reflexes and save yourself. The other thing is pitting, right? You need to be around people that you can pit with, because the easiest that you can get in and the easiest way you can get out together and stay packed up, it's going to be more beneficial to you. And I mean, we all know you want to be the first one to pit as soon as you can make it, because the run that you get on the guys that are coming out of pit road once you're formed up is crazy. And if some reason somehow you screw up pit road entry, that's your race. Like, especially at the end of the race, that's it. There's no coming back from screwing up pit entry, getting a penalty, speeding, touching the grass, unsafe pit exit, unsafe pit entry. So having people around you is really important. I'd say I'd rather have 5 guys around me in the back than be by myself up front.
Another thing you need to like with the next gen car is a lot of times if you go green for a while, all it takes one person to hit the apron in the middle of the field, one person to kind of scrape the wall. You're in 2 packs now. And now you're hanging in the back trying to avoid the wreck. Now you're not even nowhere near being able to win the race because you're in the second pack. So it's kind of a judgment call. Do I want to risk that in the back? So to me, that's why qualifying kind of matters, because you don't want to be part of that second pack when it splits. In most of these races, if they go green for a long time, they split.
Hey, Nick and I made it from the back to the front in one of those races where it split.
It's when you won. Yeah, that was last Daytona.
Nick,
Well,
you are the
I
reason I think
imagine-
I've won 2 of my 3 Daytona races.
imagine you
I
get the
remember that race.
package.
It was when Jeff Israel we thought needed to win to make playoffs, and
Yes.
I was just on your bumper the entire time, and you just took me. I just went wherever you went, dude. It was great. It was it was a fun race.
But yeah, like
I
TK was
imagine with this
mentioning though,
package, it's going to be even worse.
yeah,
Too, so
Yep.
this package, and I'm sure a lot of us will get a lot of experience next week with it being 500 week in iRacing. I know I plan to at least run it twice, to just for funsies. Well, I say funsies, it's more or less torture because you're sitting there for
I was
4
about to
hours.
say, I think it's more
But-
so torch. Yeah.
But it's a good learning experience
Mhm.
to get those laps in and really figure out what the car is going to do, and then what you want to do as a driver, and not what you need to do to be competitive, where you need to put the car and everything. So I'm sure a lot of guys will get some practice in, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it won't be as bad as what we experienced in our little team practice. But man, if it's that bad, it's like throwing would you say, a tungsten cube off the back
Mhm.
end of the race car
Yeah,
when you
it's
get
like
past.
if you throw tungsten out of the race car, what you watch the tungsten do? That's what the car does. It's crazy.
So,
But yeah, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit there, Nick, about friends. But I made the note you can get it done with 4 to 6. You prefer to have 8 to 10 in your pack. If you have 8 to 10 in your pack, you can kind of do whatever you want. 4 to 6, you still need a little help,
Yeah.
unless you're just checked out. But kind of where Nick headed with it, communication is as important as the execution, right? If you are, I know, like for TK's sake, TK can kind of talk through this with how we do it. We're trying to plan 4 or 5 laps out. I'm looking, going, hey, we're pitting based off of this person because they led the most laps or they're in the worst fuel position of all of us. So we're pitting off of them. Tell me when you get to this number of laps left or gallons of fuel, whichever we're kind of rolling with that time. And then, okay, you're there, we're pitting in 2. That way it organized, because if you don't and you misorganize the thought, and then it's like, hey, are we pitting here? And if you're asking that down the back straightaway, and the rest of the team is iffy and one person's answering that, that's where mistakes get made in execution. That has to be picked a couple laps early. Then you're going to always, every team has it. Nick's going to laugh. Every team has the one that everybody else knows you're pitting here. And you have the one that's going to ask in turn 3, we're pitting right here, right? Yes, we absolutely are. But as long as the rest of the team is kind of unified on, hey, this is what we're doing, and you have that early, that communication is just as important as actually executing, getting on the pit road.
Now let's not get things twisted here. Having friends is great, but you have no friends on the last lap. Let's make that perfectly clear. And there are some hurt feelings that will happen amongst teammates, and at the end of the day, you just have to accept that it is
Here's
what it is.
here's what I say. Like, there was an instance the other day where I think it was me and Tyler Harrison. We were in a charity race or whatever, and he was pushing me, and I was like, Tyler, I don't care if you try to pass me here, we race it out. But if one of us don't win, then it's a problem, right? So that's just the way that I kind of look at it that way. I know other people may not, because if my teammates stole my win for me, maybe I'd be a little bit more upset about it. But the way I look at it is, I know that he needs to win, I need to win. So at some point we got to race each other. But if one of us don't win and you made the move, then we have an like that's where the issue for me comes in. Like, race me all you want, but one of us better win.
Yeah, I think that comes down to I wouldn't say team orders. I would say a respect factor between teammates.
Yeah.
Like, we can straight up race to the line here, but let's not wreck each other. If I win,
Yeah.
great. You win, cool. Don't wreck me for it. Like,
If the
don't
guy
don't
behind you wins because you pulled out, then
then there's a conversation
yeah.
that's going to have to happen because
we'll have
there's
to reassess what we do there. But
right. Yeah, but friends are great in super speedways. Woof. But now to touch, I think that's gonna be it for the preview for the duels. I know we wanna touch upon this, and actually, it's great because all four of us are admins in RR. I know TK, you're an admin for the truck series. So for anyone that has not seen in Discord yet, and you're just finding out listening here, one, pay attention in Discord announcements, and two, uh, the RR Truck Series are now fully broadcasted also by VSpeed, so that's real exciting for us to have the Truck Series fully broadcasted for their season 3. But so let's talk about a little bit of admin duties here for everybody, just so they can understand what we do essentially. So during everyone knows as a driver you have voice communication in iRacing. Now, there's a lot of communication that goes on behind the scenes that you guys don't know that's going on during the race, and all the admins utilize this application called Gilded. It's essentially just like Discord, but it's a private voice chat for all the admins to go in
Discord, but
and
different.
huh.
It's Discord, but
It's
different.
the Roblox version of
Yeah,
Discord.
yeah. Hey, you need a Roblox
Literally.
login to join now. Ask me how we know.
No,
It
I
tells
still
us
haven't
constantly.
linked
No,
it.
well, I got a new PC and it made me do a Roblox account
Oh,
to
that's
join
fair.
back in Gilded. Yeah. So, so all admins utilize Gilded. So whenever you guys are asking us questions of like what's the rule on this, can I get an EOL for that, or if we see something going on in the race, we're having private conversations. So we're constantly always trying to like make sure that everyone's up to speed and we're all doing everything correctly. But I know Justice stepped away and he wanted to touch upon this, so we'll try
I
to get
know
a try
what a dick.
try to get it going here. But we are going to be announcing a brand new appeals panel, and it's going to be one person from every team. But however, with the
Team / alliance.
correct, if you have a team and you have a team alliance, it's one person from that combined team. So in my instance, we have 6 people in our alliance, and it's going to be Caleb Gilbert. I know for you guys in your team alliance, with all 8 of you, you guys are going to go with Tyler Harrison, and uh, there's what, four others,
Four.
four others, I
There-
believe.
Yeah,
So
there's 6 total.
essentially, we're trying to make any appeal that may happen from a ruling that gets brought up by the cup admins to have an appeals panel to say, hey, like, you guys ruled this. Great. Now it's our job to go in, look at their appeal, see, hey, do they have a case? If they do, let's go over the rule book, see what rule may have been not followed properly, or hey, did they bring up evidence for why this may have happened, or for them no longer to have this penalty against them, and go from there. So I think it's a cool new step that we're doing this season to get, well, one, the league more involved in what we're doing, but we're trying to find new ways to make this league fun, exciting, and just want guys to stay here. So I think it's going to be something new and cool to do. So it'll be interesting to see who that first person is that has to go through that. So I don't know who it may be,
It's gonna
but
be Baldy.
if they do have to do it, we'll see who the guinea pig's gonna be. So good luck, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be exciting. I think it takes a little bit off of our plates as admin. Hopefully, it makes our nights not as long. We also are coming through with a new rule for the admins that if anybody on your team and or alliance is involved in an incident, you have to leave the admin chat. There is no more. We used to do it, and this is a little bit of transparency from us as admin. We used to just mute, and then unmute, and then it would just turn into a debate. And so we're trying to take out any biases in anything. And then with a new appeals process, I mean, I know a couple of times last season and in the season prior that when a ruling was made with the admins present, they would essentially just write the appeal, for that person. And we're trying to make it more fair. I don't know if make it fair is the right word, Nick. We're just trying to make it
Well, make
more
it try.
inclusive for it.
More structured would
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a
structure.
better
more
There
word.
you go.
structure to just to make sure that we're doing everything correct too, right? Because I think all 6 of us have been doing this for 5 seasons now, so it's good to have that committee to be like, hey, we're just here to cross your T's and dot your I's to make sure that you guys are following suit to making sure everything's fair for everybody, you know. So
Got to make sure the quote unquote overlords are in check.
overlords in check, yeah. We don't want anyone thinking that there's any manipulation or
PI wins.
phantom PI calls coming our
'Cause
way.
we had that we ran into that a couple of times last season where we were questioned
Uh,
on some things, and so we're trying to
mhm.
make it a whole lot easier on the guys.
I have
Um,
a question. You
Yeah.
said you got one for each team.
Yeah.
yeah,
Who's
I don't know.
who's
I
is
don't know
on?
if they're all
Who you got
confirmed
from
yet.
Grant's team? Who do you get from Grant's team? That's my question.
Oh, Jackson, if he's confirmed.
Okay.
So
I was about to say
Jackson's
that's.
unconfirmed. I'm just throwing that out there. He may have already been confirmed. Just that
I was
that's.
about to say because a lot of appeals have been typed up by him, so he's probably the one to be on the appeals panel.
Oh yeah, he was a unanimous choice. He was
Yeah,
he was the first one that we
Yeah,
spoke
I was
to.
gonna I
Yeah.
was gonna throw that name in there.
Yeah.
yeah. We went through the teams as a group, and we're trying to pick who we thought would best represent
Yeah.
each team.
Mhm.
Who would have a good understanding of everything. And I know that I think there will be an announcement sometime next week once everybody's confirmed on who the appeals panel is going to be.
Mhm.
So
So
that
from
will
the
be this
outside
spring.
looking in, I know I'm a truck admin, but that doesn't have anything to do with the cup stuff, right? I think it's great. I mean, it just like with an appeal, it's hard to appeal to the people that made the ruling because like they're just kind of like we ruled it though. Like that's it's hard for them to change their mind no matter no matter what. Um, so they're having just a completely different group of guys look over it. Uh, as long as they do the job well and do what they need to do, I think it should work flawlessly. Honestly.
I think it'll be good. We ran into a lot of gray area.
Yeah.
And there's going to be an updated rule book. I don't know if it's come out yet, Nick. I haven't seen.
You say
Uh,
update, dude. This thing's reamped. Like
yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's
I know.
it's
It's
yeah.
buff. It's like
I
beefed
don't I
up.
don't know if
If you guys are bored on the toilet, we got some reading material for you guys. You know?
I don't think it's out yet.
Read the rule book.
No, no. It
I
will
think it's still getting
if
touched up.
it's being confirmed on a few of the wordings, but it is out. It may actually be out tonight before this episode drops, or it may be this weekend. So if you are listening to this, be sure to be on the lookout for
Read it
our brand
because
new rule
it's
book. Yes, read it.
extensive.
If you guys have questions, ask questions, but is very detailed to not allow transparency, at least in our minds, to allow
Oh,
transparency.
okay. Bye, Justice. Oh, he's back.
He's back.
He's back just in time to finish up on the episode on the rule book stuff and panel.
Is he actually back though?
I don't think he's actually back.
Not yet.
Sorry, we didn't.
I am
Oh,
actually back.
there he is.
we
I'm sorry, we have Bald's weather going through here right now.
ah
That's what my
Ah.
sister called me.
we just touched upon the appeals panel in our reamped rule book. If you want to throw your thoughts out on
Perfect.
either of those.
Yeah, so the appeals panel kind of came up probably somewhat in the middle of last season, and really kind of was an idea we loved. It felt like we just had to find the right way to make it happen. We went through the rule book, and kind of a suggestion came in to let a particular member review it as somebody who didn't particularly follow NASCAR before he started racing in the league, and it was just like, hey, makes sense to let him look at it, tell us what doesn't make sense, and then he and Grant actually kind of tag team rewriting it. So, excuse me, they made that happen, and one of his suggestions was an appeals panel. So it was kind of one of those things where once it came from an outside voice, I think that we, as the 6 cup admin, said, okay, it's a legitimate thing we need to consider. So, looking forward to seeing what the application of that looks like. I hope that we don't need them. Hope that we just don't end up with appeals. But you're gonna have it. Guys are going to want to appeal regardless of what happens. You don't ever want to believe you did something that deserved a penalty. So I expect that we will need them. I think, as I told each of the guys that are on the panel, expect to be used probably 3 to 5 times throughout the year, unless you just get the unlucky short straw along the way. But we hope not to need them, if we're being honest.
Again, just to touch on it really quick, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great addition to our league. I think there's something that we find every single season to make our league better, and not to pat ourselves on our own back, but I think this is probably if not one of the most uh, highly professional leagues out there, regardless of whether it be on track or off track procedures of how we handle things. And I think a lot of our league members will attest to that. That this
And
is
most competitive. I mean,
yeah,
it's one of the most competitive leagues I've ever touched foot in.
absolutely. Thanks, TK. Yeah, I think it crosses all the boxes for what people are looking for, what an iRacing league is, and soon, we could be a professional iRacing league, but who knows? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, so a lot more to come with this podcast. We're going to try and attempt to do everything in our power to make this a weekly occurrence. We are, yes, again, going to have guests on. We are going to make a list of people that have not been on here yet, so we're going to make them priorities to join us first, so our viewers can see our drivers, meet our drivers, hear them out, see what they're all about. Maybe you'll start rooting for somebody else besides just your Jeremy Burns. We got other guys here that you can root for, that you can fall in love with, and yeah, I think it's gonna be a great season. Can't wait for it to get started. Be great to have a great finish at the duels, but I'm really saving that for Daytona. So, well, Daytona 500. So let's wait for that. And you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Just looking forward to getting it started, man. It's been a long off season. I know we kind of just all of us kind of disappear for a little bit during the off season, do our own thing, and it's good to be back. Nick, you touched on it, but exciting news from the league as a whole and the growth with the Truck Series getting broadcasted. That starts up in a couple of weeks as well, on Mondays, so that'll be fun. That might be something we touch on in the weekly pod, as kind of a Monday recap of the trucks. We'll see if we can fit that in, but yeah, just looking forward to being back and getting out there on the track with y'all.
Perfect.
I can't wait. Cannot wait. Martinsville left a sour taste in my mouth, and I'm ready to get back after it.
The whole last season left a sour taste in my mouth.
Well, you have that.
It tastes like a Tide Pod.
Whoa.
He knows what it tastes like. We need to go check on Baldy.
All right. Well, this is the RR podcast. This is RR After Dark, the official podcast of the iRacing League Racing Revolution. And again, we have to thank our longtime sponsor, Chapman Environmental Services. Chapman is your source for environmental solutions. Chapman provides integrated environmental management and consulting services. For more information about Chapman, you can go to chapmanes.com for more information on them. I am Nick Alves. We have TK. We have Bald. We have Justice Murphy. We will see you in Victory Lane. Good night.